Trash belongs with trash, my father announced into the microphone, dangling the old, yellowed passbook my grandfather had just secretly handed me. He didn't just mock it. He dropped the book straight into a bucket of melting ice and champagne. As the crowd roared with laughter, I didn't scream. I plunged my hand into the freezing water, ruined my wedding dress to save those wet pages, and walked out without looking back. Before I tell you the secret hiding inside those wet, ruined pages, and how I used it to destroy my father's fake empire, tell me in the comments. What is the cruelest thing a family member has ever done to you at a celebration? I'm reading every single story. 3 days later, I walked into the First National Bank in downtown Boston. The lobby was all marble and hushed whispers, a stark contrast to the chaos I had left behind in Newport. I held the passbook in a plastic Ziploc bag. The pages were crinkled and stained with champagne residue, looking exactly like the trash my father said it was. I'm Alyssa, and at 29, I've spent my life making myself invisible. As a trauma nurse, I'm good at it. I know how to fade into the background while doctors scream and patients bleed. I know how to hold secrets. But standing there in my thrifted coat, waiting for the young teller to stop typing, I felt exposed. I need to check the balance on this, I said, sliding the bag across the polished counter. It was a gift. The teller, a girl no older than 20, picked it up with 2 fingers, her nose wrinkling slightly. She typed in the account number, probably expecting an error message or a balance of 0. Then she stopped. Her fingers hovered over the keys. She blinked, leaned closer to the screen, and the color drained from her face. "Ma'am," she whispered, her voice trembling. "Please wait here. Do not leave." She didn't press a silent alarm, but she might as well have. Within seconds, the branch manager and a man in a bespoke suit, the regional director, were rushing toward me. They didn't look at my cheap coat. They looked at me like I was royalty in exile. "Miss Mercer," the director said, ushering me toward a heavy steel door in the back. "Please. We've been waiting for this account to be claimed for a very long time." They led me into a private viewing room that smelled of old paper and dust. As they went to retrieve the file, I sat in the leather chair and closed my eyes, and suddenly, I wasn't in a bank vault. I was 12 years old again. Kneeling on the hardwood floor of my father's study, Richard sat in his armchair, swirling a glass of scotch, watching me. He had spilled it on purpose. I knew he had. But the rule was simple. Girls clean, boys conquer. Hunter was on the sofa, laughing at a video game, his feet propped up on the table I had just polished. "You missed a spot, Alyssa," Richard said softly. He didn't yell. He preferred an audience for his cruelty. He liked to see the light go out in my eyes. It was his theater. When Grandpa Samuel tried to help me up, Richard's voice turned into a whip. "Touch that rag, old man, and I'll put you in a state home so fast you won't even have time to pack your pills." I scrubbed until my knuckles bled that day. I scrubbed because I believed I had no value outside of what I could endure. The heavy clank of the vault door brought me back. I opened my eyes. I wasn't that 12-year-old girl anymore. I was the woman holding the match. The director placed a thick file on the table. "Your grandfather didn't just open a savings account, Miss Mercer. In 1982, he established a Totten Trust. He was an early investor in Apple and Microsoft. He funneled every dividend back into the portfolio, untouched, for 40 years. He turned the document toward me. The current value of the trust, legally payable to you upon his death, is $12,400,000. The number sat there on the page, black and absolute. $12,400,000. I stared at it. I thought about the champagne bucket. I thought about Richard laughing into the microphone, calling this fortune trash. He had held $12 million in his hand and thrown it away because he was too arrogant to look inside the cover. "Is there anyone else listed on the account?" I asked, my voice calm, clinical. "No," the director said. "Just you. It's entirely yours." I touched the dried, ruined passbook. It wasn't just money. It was a weapon. And for the first time in my life, I knew exactly where to aim it. My husband, Luke, didn't look up when I walked through the door. He was hunched over his laptop at the kitchen island, surrounded by a fortress of printed spreadsheets. The air in our small apartment felt electric, charged with the static of something about to break. Luke isn't just a data analyst. He's a forensic architect of secrets. He finds the cracks in the foundation that nobody else sees. "It's not an empire, Alyssa," he said, finally turning the screen toward me. His voice was flat, devoid of emotion. "It's a Ponzi scheme, built on bridge loans and ego." I looked at the monitor. I expected to see wealth. I expected to see the millions Richard bragged about at every charity gala and family dinner. Instead, I saw red. "He's insolvent," Luke said, tapping a document. "The mansion in Newport? Foreclosure proceedings started 3 weeks ago. The family trust he claims to manage? It's empty. He's been moving the same $50,000 between 6 different shell accounts to make it look like he has liquidity. And here's the kicker. He's being audited. The IRS sent him a notice of deficiency last month. I stared at the numbers. The man who had thrown my grandfather's legacy into a champagne bucket wasn't a titan of industry. He was a drowning man, flailing in a sea of debt. He didn't just want money. He needed it to stay out of federal prison. My phone rang. It was him. I put it on speaker. Luke stopped typing. Alyssa. Richard's voice filled the kitchen. There was no apology. No hesitation. Just the brash confidence of a man who believed he still owned the world. I've been thinking about that shack your grandfather left you. The cottage. What about it? I asked. My hand rested on the table to steady the tremor, but my voice was ice. I'm going to do you a favor, he said. I've spoken to my real estate attorney. We can liquidate it quickly. I'll handle the sale, get you a fair market price, and invest the proceeds into the family business so you actually get a return. You're a nurse, honey. You don't know the first thing about property taxes or maintenance. I'm trying to save you from a headache. He wanted the cottage. It was the only tangible thing Samuel had left me besides the passbook. It was worth maybe $300,000, peanuts to a billionaire, but a lifeline to a desperate fraudster. I'm not selling, Dad, I said. The line went silent. Then, the mask slipped. You listen to me, he snarled, his voice dropping an octave. That old man was mentally incompetent when he signed that deed. I have witnesses ready to testify that you manipulated a senile geriatric into signing over family assets. If you don't sign that transfer paperwork by Friday, I will sue you for elder abuse. I will drag you through probate court until you're bankrupt. Do you understand me? You're out of your depth, Alyssa. He wasn't protecting me. He was hunting for liquidity. Any asset he could seize, sell, and funnel into his black hole of debt. I understand perfectly, I said. Good. I'll have the papers sent over. The line clicked dead. I looked at Luke. He wasn't scared. He was smiling. A cold, sharp smile that matched the feeling rising in my chest. Richard thought he was bullying a helpless daughter. He didn't know he had just handed us the blueprint to his own destruction. He was desperate. And desperate men make mistakes. I waited 24 hours before calling him back.